Okay, let's go out to Jackson, Mississippi now, where the game is over, and it wasn't even close. Not that it was a surprise at all to anyone. Joining us now, Stephen J. Gaither and Lut Williams, one of our HBCU Game Day contributors. Steve, I'll start with you. What did you think?
It was about what I expected. In the pregame, I gave JSU a 42 favorite. They won by 11 more than that. So about what you expected. Edward Waters has a history of playing FCS SWAC schools, and it hasn't been too close. And neither was this, even though there were some things that they did well.
All right, Lut Williams, you've been around for a while, even longer than me. They pick on me for being the old guy. How would you put into perspective, Lut, what we're seeing here with a man as famous as Deion Sanders lands at Jackson State in his first game under the belt? How does this fall for you, Lut?
Well, it was almost like 21s were wild. He was hired on September the 21st. He's the 21st coach in Jackson State history. He plays his first game on February the 21st. So I was figuring that, at least you had to have a multiple of 21 in the game. So when they were 31-0 at the half, I said, if they score another 32 points, it'll be 63-0. I think it was historic in many ways. Obviously, we've never had the kind of guy with this kind of profile before to be at an HBCU, to take a job at an HBCU. So he has, he talked about one of the things he mentioned in his post-game press conference. His players said that all he talked about was history, the relevance of Black history, the figures that have been in Black history, and how they were making history today, playing for him, playing for Jackson State, with all of the hype and all of the hoopla that's been around him being there. So it was very historic. That's one of the reasons that I decided to make the trip down here with Stephen, because it is history. This is the kind of thing we're going to look back over the years and talk about being at the first game that Deion Sanders was the head coach at Jackson State.
Coming into this game, Edward Waters was outmanned. Nobody, made an argument about that. Were you guys able to get a feel for just how good Jackson State might be, considering, they were playing, in essence, a Division II school today?
I think it's really hard to gauge at this point. This is what you would have expected. Anything less for Jackson State would have been pretty bad, just based on the fact that they're playing an NAIA team in their FCS school. But you think about everything that they had to overcome over this last week with the situation down here in Jackson. Everybody knows what's going on in Houston, but we were here in Jackson, and at the hotel last night it was full, not necessarily so much for this game, but because the people did not have, some folks their water wasn't right, their electricity and things like that. They've been in the ice storm. So when you add that into the backdrop of this, it really wasn't even so much about the game as it was just the exercise of everybody out here, trying to do socially distant, the first game where everybody's doing masks and stuff like that. So, the game was the game, to quote Avon Barksdale. But I think everything around it was definitely something to behold for sure.
Not a lot of splash plays, as they call it. There weren't any long pass plays, long running plays. It was kind of a basic game. They ran the ball quite a bit, ran the ball up the middle quite a bit, didn't throw a lot of deep passes. So you didn't see the kind of talent that you are probably going to see at Jackson State come the fall. This team that's coming off, as you know, was not a top team in the SWAC last year in the East Division. They were a team behind Alcorn State, probably in a group with Alabama A&M and Alabama State behind Alcorn in the East. So this year, in terms of what you saw on the field today, I didn't see anything that makes me think that Jackson State will stand out amongst everybody else. But one thing that Coach Prime said is that it's a work in progress. It's a process that they're in, and that they got a lot to work on. How good they'll be in the SWAC this year, it's going to be very interesting to see, because with Alcorn out of things, of course, everybody else kind of steps up a notch. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out with this squad that they have right now.
What do you think that Deion Sanders can expect on the road moving forward in the SWAC, now that what I'm calling the honeymoon phase might be over? His contributions to being a famous player, former player at HBCU, that feel-good moment now over because we're playing the games teams want to win?
Well, I think that, the SWAC, if nothing else, the SWAC is known for its very, very heated rivalries, whether it's Alcorn State and Jackson or Grambling State and Jackson. And I think that is only added to the heat, so to speak, to have Jackson State. Jackson State has not been a perennial contender over the last 15 or so years. And to have somebody like him, no team in the SWAC would like anything better than to stick it to both Deion Sanders and Jackson State with all of the hype that they're getting. And what that means is anybody that beats him will also get the hype, because they not only will have beaten Jackson State, but they have beaten a Pro Football Hall of Famer. I think that's going to be a significant element. It's probably going to increase the crowds. It's going to increase the rivalry. And with Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman coming in next year, it's like the sky's the limit. It could really be off the chain.
Okay, guys, the hype is over. They finally played a game. We've talked about it, but here's the big question. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I think like everybody, I was a little bit out of game shape. It's been a while since Celebration Bowl 2019. But I felt good to actually get out in some football action, and yeah, it was cool. It was definitely fun.
It's always fun, man. That's what we do. We cover the HBCUs. We try to do a great job of it. And that's the reason why I came. It was necessary for some of us to be here. And I was glad that I could hook up with Steve and come down and cover it. We did have a good time.
We even got in the motorcade, Holly. Beat that.
All right. Stephen J. Gaither, Lut Williams from the Black College Sports page. Thanks for helping us out this weekend at HBCU Game Day. An historic weekend. Glad that we were there. You guys stay safe. Safe travels on your way back to North Carolina, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, Stephen J. Gaither and Lut Williams. Jackson State with the win over Edward Waters. Next up, Mississippi Valley State back at home in Jackson again next weekend. We'll be talking about this game and that game all week long right here at HBCUGameDay.com.